All right, hello zoology people. Here to continue with our discussion on the chondrichthyes. We covered several groups already. Let me get into our discussion here. So if you remember, we finished off with the elasmobranchs as far as the first half actually. So we got through the sharks, the Selachii. I hope you've soaked all that in, all the idea of effective predators, all their physiological adaptations that they've evolved. Just a really, really cool group. And again, not completely doing it justice. We could spend a whole semester just on this group, and I think we'd get into a lot of neat stuff. But I want to continue on with the chapter. So also within the elasmobranch category, we get into this group that we call the Batoidea, right? So this is these stingrays, skates, these dorsal-ventrally flattened groups there. So I don't know if you have any experience at the coastal world. When you go out to the shallow water, again, that's the really good habitat for these stingrays. What the stingrays will do, they'll kind of use their dorsal ventrally flattened bodies, they'll kind of wiggle around a little bit. They'll stir up the sediment. Sediment sort of sits on them. They burrow themselves in there, eyes exposed, and they're just waiting, right? They're hiding from predators. They're waiting for food. And that's where accidents can happen, right? So a lot of the people that do get injured by these, it's usually tourists, right? The locals know that you're not supposed to stomp on the ground, stomp. You're supposed to slide, shuffle your feet to kind of disrupt them and kind of move them along. But we'll get into that in a little bit here. So just showing you the modifications, right? So everything that the other elasmobranchs have, these rays and skates also have. The gills, they have that these very rigid tooth plates to help them crush their food. Just everything we see in regular sharks, except now flattened down. All of the ampullae, all of those are also present and very, very well developed also in these stingrays. So just a little cross-sectional sort of view, a lot of different species, really neat species, really diverse group. The very, very large, famous manta ray that some of you might have heard of, 15 feet across, this massive, massive, massive beast, but very, very timid, right? Very, very tame. Some of these they look like stingrays. We call them skates. They're basically stingrays without the sting. So again, these other guitar fish, sawfish, different types of rays. Even the electric ray that generates an electrical charge. So a lot of neat species within this category. I thought these were just neat pictures showing the development of this group from embryonic sort of juvenile states onwards, different staining techniques that they use to highlight certain aspects here, but neat pictures, I think. You start to see some of that sort of the sting itself starting to develop. This to me is neat, right? That's the underside of the stingray. Looks cool, right? Just a neat artistic way of representing something that you may have seen a lot of times, the stingrays. So again, a stingray in its natural habitat, right? Typical coloration for the stingrays, also counter-shaded, dark or spotted on the top, white in the belly. And again, a lot of times they will be like that or even more submerged in the sediment. So as I was mentioning earlier, this is what causes problems for people that get stung by a stingray, right? So imagine that you're enjoying your walk on the beach in the shallow water, you're stepping on the sand, and you manage to step on the back of one of these stingrays. Well, it feels scared, it's threatened, it's getting injured, so it's going to flip that tail around and jab you in the foot. And I've personally never been stung. I don't know if you all have. Maybe if you have, it's a miserable situation. Again, I've never personally been stung, but I've been around people that have, and I've had to remove one of these stings from somebody's foot. And again, even without venom, right? Just the fact that that mechanical injury, like take a serrated knife and jab it into somebody, right? These little hook barbs, and again, that in itself would be miserable. And then on top of that, we add now the venom and that burning, very, very painful sensation. So it's a defensive type of venom. It just causes pain and misery, not necessarily designed to kill a prey item. But again, maybe the people that are in agony wish they were dead. I'm not sure, but it does seem pretty uncomfortable. I don't know if you're familiar with the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin, right? We'll talk about him later when we get to crocodiles again. But if you know his very bad misfortune, he was snorkeling with stingrays. I don't know all the exact details, but he managed to get stung by a stingray. And again, this is the actual stinger that got him, right? And had it gotten him on the leg, had it gotten him on the thigh, on the arm, it would have been miserable, but I think he would have been okay. The fact that it actually went, punctured his heart. So imagine getting that jabbed into the heart with then the venom that was injected. So again, that is what overwhelmed the system and caused his death. So a sad way to lose that very charismatic individual, right, Steve Irwin. So that again does it for our rays, our stingrays, our Batoidea group. So let me stop that one right now. Then I'm going to progress into the next idea of elasmobranch reproduction, shark reproduction.